Hi, everyone. Welcome to celebrating Black Business Month. And we are lucky to have LJ today to tell her founder story. And before we do that, let's welcome Man Lee to also tell us a story from SBA perspective. So it's all in all, it's a storytelling event, and anybody want to share their stories afterwards, feel free to do so. Okay, Man Lee.
Okay, thank you, Ying. Today, I present to you the inspiring journey of Jason Alston, a visionary entrepreneur who turned his passion for barbecue into a thriving business, all while overcoming unprecedented challenges. Jason Alston began cooking at age 13 to feed himself and his hardworking single mother. But his passion for barbecue started earlier as he watched his uncle and grandfather grill. I asked if the food was ready and they say no. I snatched a rib right off the grill and hid in the closet to eat it. When they found me, I was covered with sauce. Little did he know that this act of culinary curiosity would set the stage for a remarkable journey. Despite the challenges life presented, Jason's passion for cooking and barbecue only grew stronger. He kept cooking at a variety of jobs, getting degrees in culinary arts and business management. Alongside his educational pursuits, he entered and conquered major barbecue competitions, all while catering to friends and family. It was a natural progression for him to turn his passion into a business. In early 2018, he opened Heaven's Table Barbecue in the new Crossroad Collective Food Hall on Milwaukee's east side. The aroma Jason's sumptuous barbecue creation quickly captured the attention of both locals and the visitors alike. Positive reviews and word-of-mouth endorsements propelled Heaven's Table Barbecue to the forefront of culinary excellence. As we know, the challenges of the pandemic were unforeseeable and unpalatable. So when the pandemic forced the closure of Crossroad Collective in March 2020, Jason faced a cash flow crisis. He stopped taking a salary so that he could pay his employees. But the high rent for his now idle small booth and food preparation area was a problem. And in this dire situation, he turned to the SBA for support. Through the SBA's idle loan and small PPP loan in April 2020, Jason was able to purchase a delivery truck, paid his dedicated staff, cover rent, and acquire vital personal protective equipment. When the food hall reopened with outdoor seating and a reduced facility in June, so did Heaven's Table, but business was far from pre-pandemic levels. The story of Heaven's Table Barbecue does not stop here. It's a testament to the spirit of adaptability and innovation. The pandemic forced Jason to reevaluate his business strategy. Through determination and hard work, Jason transformed challenges into opportunities. By the fall of 2020, he was remodeling a new carry-out space a few miles west, strategically located next to a residential neighborhood and near a few other restaurants. He continued to sell through the food hall along with delivery and private events into 2021. A second draw PPP loan helped to pay staff salary and cover essential expenses, keeping 6 people employed. In mid-2021, as business was slowly returning, he received a substantial restaurant revitalization fund grant. With food costs increasing and staff shortages, an article to opening the new location, the grant offered a significant boost just when it was needed most. SBS assistants have kept my staff and me employed and the business going. My goal is to be wise with how I use the grant so that we can continue to bring Milwaukee's great barbecue in this new environment and be flexible if we need to be again. Jason's story encapsulates the essence of Black Business Month. It's about celebrating not just the success, but the journey, the setback, the triumph, and the indomitable spirit that propels us forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Manly. Yeah, great story. And we're now moving on to LJ to tell her story, and I will let her introduce herself also. LJ?
Thank you, Ying, and thank you, Manly, for that amazing story of resilience and the ability to leverage, existing resources to build their business. I myself am sitting here today at a golf course, and the focus of our dialogue and our conversation is around leadership. And what I'd love to share with everyone listening is that our leadership begins with each of our individual actions. And one of the things that I found interesting that I'd want to share with you is my own story, but then also how you're able to lead with authenticity, how you can lead in a way that feels natural to you, but then how you can lead without having power, official power. You are your own author of your story. So for myself, I started off my career in technology and finance, and I really loved coding when I first started my career, and then I moved into business analysis and project management. And many will ask, well, where does leadership start in your career? For those that are beginning their career journey, or even as you are starting to come to the end of your career journey, the question is, where do you lead? When do you become a leader? How do you start to acquire the skills of leadership? I think it starts from the moment you make a decision for yourself. The moment you decide to live authentically, the moment you decide to live and follow your own passion, your own dream, you are leading, and other people are following and listening and watching you live your life. But what does that mean? Hold on one second. What does that mean? Sometimes you have to continue to move on and do what's best for you. So for me, I started my career in finance and technology, and the roles that I played were those where I'm able to contribute to a team, but we're also following the leadership of our overall organization. The challenge in that is that you're usually just doing what you're told to do. But how do you do that the best way possible? For me and for my career, and for those that I speak to now that are entrepreneurs, it is finding your unique story within any particular moment. In our journey as entrepreneurs, we're often isolated and alone, but how do you continue to show up? You act as if you are leading a group of people. And one of the other things that we start to look at, well, what are the characteristics of a leader? In my own story and my own journey, I had to discover that. And through the game of golf, I've been able to really build that personally. The first conversation is around understanding, what does integrity mean for you as a business leader, as an employee, as an employer? and really making the decision of how you want to live that and demonstrate that in your life, if that's a characteristic that is important to you. In addition to that, being able to persevere through adversity. What does that look like for you in your career? For me, it was really having a conversation around whether or not the work that I was doing was fulfilling and satisfying to me long term. This personally affected me as I sat next to, most recently, my uncle as he was getting ready to pass. And I thought, this may be the last place that he'll ever see. I hope that he lived a satisfied life. I hope that he, enjoyed what he did and that he had no regrets in how he lived. And that made me think, how many of us are living and just surviving, but not necessarily living the life that we want? And in leadership and in the roles that you serve, people will look to you for advice. But in the end, if you're living your authentic dream and living with the intention of, being able to deliver services at a higher level, then it will be organic and authentic for you. So I pause here to ask everyone to really take a step back and look at your life and look at what you do on a day-to-day basis and ask, am I leading? Am I living? And am I enjoying the journey? Other characteristics of strong leadership that I found and didn't realize I was demonstrating was my commitment to serve others. In that, there are different forms of leadership. What type of leader do you want to be? A good friend of mine, Shel Shapiro, shared a book with me called Servant Leader. And in that book, it taught me and showed me what does it look like to be a giving leader, to be a person that serves with the intention of being able to give back, with the intention of building your business, but knowing that whatever you put out into the world will be returned back to you. How can you build a business knowing that, there are other people out there? And that's what I've been really focused on in my own career journey and my own entrepreneurial journey. How can I be of service and build something that meets the purpose that I've been put on this earth, and then lead by example in my actions and the work that I do? And it's not easy, I think, for any entrepreneur sitting back. You're just trying to pay your bills. You're trying to find clients. You're trying to market your business. But if you take a step back and say, what impact do I want to have on this world? Those are the first steps to identifying your leadership style and how you want to be seen as a leader. Because in addition to that, I look at all of the SYEP interns that I've worked with over the past 3 summers in the fall. And SYEP is the Summer Youth Employment Program. My thought is I want them to enter the workforce knowing that they are supported, knowing what they can do to support themselves, and knowing what they can do to show up as the best version of themselves professionally. And excuse the background noise, because one of the things that we can't control as leaders, sometimes we can't control our environment, and being able to accept that and continue to persevere is rather important. So as I shared, the SYEP interns are an example of where I got to look in the mirror and understand what my leadership influence would be. Their work and their ability to progress beyond my workspace or my workplace is a reflection of how I've chosen to show up as a leader, how we choose to pour into people, because in the end, they'll be better in this world, but they'll also be better employees. And so as you think about what is your leadership style and how do you want to lead, aside from being authentic, it's also surrounding yourself with people that can lift you and challenge you in the sense that we're not perfect human beings. And one of the biggest observations that I had was limited mindset. I didn't recognize it because I was an entrepreneur and I'm stepping out in faith and I'm doing all of these things. But when I looked at what was possible and I looked at how I limited and how I sometimes do it today, how I'm able to look at a scenario and see all of the risks. These are the things that made me successful as a project manager. But on the other hand, do not make me successful as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, there are moments where I feel like we need to be unapologetically adventurous and ambitious and aggressive at pursuing our goals. And in the common workplace, these are things that we have to sometimes suppress and sometimes not do at the same level. So I think it's about being able to choose and looking at what does leadership look like for you in any space or place. How can you show up with the goal in mind of being able to serve others or being able to help change a trajectory? I think oftentimes my role as a leader has been to live by example, not just tell people what to do and delegate, but more so be an example and do the work at the highest level on quality that I can, with the expectation that my team will replicate and do the same. If I show up on time, they will show up on time. If I send notes, they will send notes. And everything that I do is a demonstration, no different than a parent modeling behavior for a child. We also do the same for our clients. We do the same for our employees, and we do the same in anything that we do in life. People are always watching, so it's an opportunity for us to demonstrate leadership. I personally found that golf was a way for me to lead by example. I look at the number of individuals that I've had an opportunity to influence, whether it's children through the nonprofit work we're doing, or adults where we're looking at helping to introduce more people to the game in a way that allows them to build their business and allows them to build themselves professionally and personally. Self-awareness is not a space or a place that we're often investing in ourselves, aside from people that go to therapy or people that take classes or read self-help books. How many times are you actually standing in a place where you can test your integrity, where you can test your patience, where you can test your ability to communicate, where you can test your interpersonal skills and interacting and engaging with strangers, where you can really look at who you are as an individual and challenge yourself to be a better person. I think that the ability to I know that the ability to master these skills or understand and navigate these skills on the golf course is an excellent example of building your own leadership style and leadership skills. So I say find non-traditional ways for you to demonstrate leadership, whether it's volunteering or if it's giving back in another way by helping another team member, or if it's helping a fellow entrepreneur. It is a great way for you to demonstrate leadership skills. I think as an entrepreneur, in being isolated, you're not working with a lot of people often, or maybe you're constantly in a space where you're in training classes and you're absorbing information and you're taking information. How do you give back? How do you give back information? How do you pour into the next generation of entrepreneurs? It's a terrific way to practice leading, practice showing up for someone else, but then also building a skill set that is invaluable, that is hard to measure. One of the challenges that I've seen is just our ability. Oh, there's people behind me, so excuse that. One of the challenges I've seen personally is our ability to show up when we're under pressure. And that is the true test of leadership. In your most uncertain, unpredictable moments, who are you? And so as I think about, if you were to go to ChatGPT today and say, what is a leader? Are they visionary? Perhaps. They execute well. They're strategic. They're patient. They're innovative. There are a lot of adjectives that come up. But then when you talk about what type of leader do you want to be, look at, am I autocratic? Am I democratic? Am I servant leader? There's so many leadership styles. My recommendation for anyone sitting and thinking about what type of leader do I want to be, think about how you want to impact everyone that is around you, whether they're working for you or not, whether they're working next to you or you're working for them. You can lead from even if you don't have a place of power, you can lead from any place that you exist. And so I offer that to everyone listening today, that think about, how have I led? How do I continue to lead? And who do I want to be as a leader? And that would be how I would conclude today's conversation. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, LJ. Very important topic on leadership and a great story. Now we're going to open up the floor to anyone who have any questions for LJ or for Manli, or if you would like to share your own story around topic of leadership, or just around topic of Black entrepreneurs or businesses, stories about you, stories about someone you know, you're welcome to use the remaining time to share that. And yeah, and I hope this is we have a small group and intimate group, and you will, I hope you all find a great connections and inspirations from the group. Okay, anybody wanted to? Hannah? Yeah.
So hi, my name is Hannah. I'm a speech therapist, and I'm working on an app to integrate into media for therapists to facilitate their sessions and make it more fun and interactive for students. And I just want to say, LJ, your story completely resonated and was so timely for me. It's one of the things that I've been working on and trying to decipher. I feel like this past year has been like the challenge of resilience for me on a personal level, and I think it has prepared me so much for this new role that I'm about to enter into, and I'm just so excited. But I'm so happy that you shared your story and exactly like how it just is a test of your resilience, but also your character and how you want to leave a mark in your integrity, and also like the door that you're opening up for the next generation. And it's like, okay, how do I open this as wide as possible, and how do I bring as many people in with me? And so yeah, I just really appreciate you sharing. I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Handlin. Yeah, LJ,
Thank you.
any reactions or?
Yeah, absolutely. I say, Hannah, and I think one of the biggest challenges that you'll face in general is there might be a resistance to the idea. How can you lead and still show up? I think one of the challenges we have as entrepreneurs or as individuals in innovative spaces that aren't often moving as fast as the times are. How do you still show up and lead by example? And what word do you want to use to help keep you motivated and keep your eye on the prize, which is transformative. It sounds like transformative therapy approaches that, the industry is going to potentially push back on. And there's just going to be a lot of scenarios that may be difficult, but you know that you're built because the word resilience is what you chose. And now the question becomes, well, what kind of leader do you want to be in those resilient moments?
Great. Anybody else want to share anything?
So LJ, thank you for sharing. And I'm going to invite you to participate with me in something that I'm doing in another country that I think there's a message that the youth there. I'm doing a project. I'm sponsoring an event. Oh, by the way, I'm Christine Francis from Vacationing with Purpose and Having Purpose. I run a few organizations, and I'm sponsoring a youth summit in Lesotho, which is in Southern Africa. And it's the first youth summit that the country is having. And I think this presentation that you just did off the cuff would benefit those youth. So if you will have time, I know you may have a full plate, you can probably remote in and do that again virtually. So I'll share my information, or you can get it from Yang and see if you want to participate and share it with these youth that are entrepreneurial, who are trying to, the tagline is youth creating greatness, right? So thank you for that. I appreciated it.
Hello, baby.
Hey, Christine, please feel free to leave your contact info in the chat, and same with everyone else and LJ, so people can contact you directly.
Thank you for that, Christine. I think one of the things to share is there's an expectation of what we believe entrepreneurship should look like, how conflicting it seems like it could be, or how aggressive or competitive it needs to be. But I think some of the strongest opportunities come from collaboration. I think that as a leader, being able to extract resources and pull them together to create something great is a conversation that every young entrepreneur should think about or hear, because there are different choices you can make as a leader. You can be the Shark Tank, you can be, the cutthroat entrepreneur, but they're all choices of who you want to be as a leader and how you want to be seen. So I'm excited to hear about your entrepreneurial segment that you're presenting.
Awesome.
LJ, I have a question for you. This is Charles Gale. Yeah, I'm based out of Queens. I actually moved to the Bronx. I had an office in Long Island City. We're in Queens. So we had an office in Long Island City. We're in the Bronx now. And my question for you, I know I hear you spoke a lot about the isolation, and that's one of the things that can be frustrating from when you come from an environment where you're in corporate and you're working to actually being your own boss, and then you're responsible for all the decisions. And that's one of the challenges, that like there's no mentorship. Like, who can I call, and are they going to give you the correct answers? And how do you deal with that isolation, and do you have any mentors, people that you speak with on a daily basis that that you can ask intimate questions pertaining to your practice, and really that can then help you. How do you deal with that part of it?
I think it's surrounding yourself with individuals that are at the places and the spaces that you want to be in your career journey or in your entrepreneurial journey. I think it's leveraging resources that are available where there are like-minded individuals. For me, I think a perfect example, shout out to Ying. She runs a call at 7 a.m. every Wednesday morning with entrepreneurs. I think that there's a wealth of information being shared there. Man Lee, if you get on one of her mailing lists, she sends a wealth of information. Between Ying and Man Lee, I feel like every class and every entity that is out there in this 5 boroughs and even freaking nationally, they both are sharing so many resources that put you in touch with individuals that you may have normally not had access to as an entrepreneur, and then begin to build your network there. As for who I speak to on a regular basis, I think, Dawn Kelly is my friend. She was a client, she became a friend, and she's in an entrepreneurial journey that I feel is inspirational. So I speak to her often. I speak to individuals that are, currently building their business. I'm an alumni of 2 different cohorts, one Goldman Sachs and then another New York Pace. So I try to stay in touch with individuals that went through those courses with me, because we have a shared network and we have shared resources. So I think it's about, as an entrepreneur, building your network in a way that allows you to kind of give and get feedback and information, especially if there are things that you're struggling to decide on because you're too close to the problem. That happens more often for entrepreneurs than we realize. We stay in the weeds in the day-to-day, that some very obvious things are floating by and obvious opportunities are passing us because we're too involved with the day-to-day ops, and that's hard. So those are my personal ways.
Thank you.
Great question and great answer. Yeah, anybody else want to share anything? Hey, Max, I just saw you coming in.
Yeah.
We're talking about leadership. Since you just led a major app development project, would you like to share anything about that?
Oh, I think
Sorry to put you on the spot. Anything about leadership?
Yeah, I think the most important thing in my situation was to really stand up and make sure that everything that we had planned for is executed. So I think that was one of the major challenge. But as a leader, you have to make sure that everything on the checklist is actually done and done on time. So I think that part of the job was one of the most difficult, and also it's very satisfying when you get it done and you achieve your objectives. So yeah, there's a lot to it, but I think that's what I'll say. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Max. Sorry again.
And Ying, I'd like to share one of the things that,
Please.
just like professionally, in my role originally in my career, I worked as a project manager. It's leading by example and influence. That's all.
Yeah. So I have a question for the leaders out here, including you, LJ. How do you motivate people who follow? Or how do you even get your followers?
It's a great question. I think it's being able to connect with individuals and understand what is individually motivating them, and that what will give them or make them excited to do the work, especially if they're not getting paid extra or there's no additional reward for doing it. So as a project manager, I think the skill that I picked up was speaking to people and understanding where they stood, what were their obstacles, and what would motivate them to move forward. So like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if someone is in a job just because they need to pay the bills so that they can, put a roof over their head and feed their family, their motivation is different than someone that is well paid and potentially, just looking for different ways to challenge themselves. So it really is understanding what the core need of the individual is. Some people need more recognition. Some people want to have opportunities to test their own skills. So understanding what motivates an individual, and then as a leader, trying to find ways to fulfill that in ways that are in alignment with your business and goal and don't take you away from that process.
No, that's great. Thank you. That's great insight. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have
I'd be curious, Ying, to ask everyone that's on the call if they could just share what type of leader they hope to be. Are they an empathetic leader? Are they, directive leader? What type of leader do you think you are currently, and what type of leader do you aspire to be?
All right. That's a challenging question. What type of leader do you want to be? Anybody want to stand up for the challenge? What type of leader be? So how
I
many?
guess I would say I'm empathetic, service-oriented leader, because most of what I do is helping others, right? So even I'm a social worker by profession. And even my day job, in which I provide services to students who are expecting or parenting, who have returned to college to get their education. And then I created two organizations that then find ways to give back to the Caribbean or to Africa. And so I spend a lot of time listening to people's needs and trying to help them fulfill that. It's about how we get to the destinations that they want to get to, as she said, so I think I would be considered an empathetic and compassionate leader.
That's excellent. Thank you, Christine. Yeah. Anybody else? What are other possible types, LJ?
I think a self-aware leader. I think you can be motivational leader. You can be transformative. You could be authoritative. You can be, dynamic. You could be kind. You could be unkind. You could be like a strict leader. Like there's so many adjectives that describe how we show up. I think most people that we could be a rigid leader. I think I'm a structured leader. And I think that, I'm diplomatic as a leader. I think I'm very much even keel. So one of the things I look at is how my team reacts to some of the behaviors that I have and what their reactions are holistically. I think I've come to realize that I am very structured and I am very diplomatic. And I think that allows for people to understand where they stand in my organization. They understand what I value. They understand what's important to me. Like timeliness is important to me. And anyone that works for me understands that while there is a grace period, I believe that being early is being on time. And that is part of our, the culture of the organization. So it comes across as strict, but what I recognize is that because I'm working with, or usually my team members or younger generation, I know that any skill that I build with them, they'll keep in their future, or they'll be able to understand and reflect on how that's impacted them professionally. So yeah, thinking about the kind of leader you want to be. I think that I want people to understand as soon as they start working with me what my brand is. I'm going to be on time. I'm going to be diligent. I'm going to be thorough. And I expect that of my team members. And I think that I'm structured. And I think that that is who I am inherently. And that's how I lead. So I want the team members to feel and start to feel comfortable stepping into their own version of that, so that when they go to their next job, or if they stay with me forever, that can be part of their brand as well. So that's, but I'm also coming from project management. So structure, we're kind of square a little bit.
For that, what happens if your team members have a opposite of characters as you? I mean, How do you deal with that? Do you
Those have been my Ying, those have been my greatest learning opportunities because it really helped me take a step back and look at what's motivating them and what will allow them to feel some form of success, what will allow them to do their best, but then what allows them to be able to thrive in our environment and thrive in our workforce. There's some core non-negotiables. Being on time is a non-negotiable because if you are not showing up on time for yourself, you're not showing on time for your clients, you're not showing up on time for my clients. So that's a non-negotiable. But the structure in which they work, I've given them autonomy in the sense that I just ask them, you set a goal and you think about how you want to break it down. But by the end of the day, feel comfortable showing me what you worked on. So what we really fight against is procrastination, which is not necessarily a way of work. It's just habits that we've picked up over the course of our careers. So talking to my employees, talking to my team members, talking to clients, and understanding when I feel most anxious or most uncomfortable is usually when I am working in those moments when I've identified someone works very differently than I do. And I have to take a step back and be more self-aware and ask, what can I do to ensure that they're successful based on how they work? That's really so it's the opportunity not for me to tell them to do something, but for me to take a step back and ask, how do I want to lead in this moment?
That's excellent. Thank you. Yeah. So we haven't heard from Elena or Robin. Would you like to share? Yeah.
Yes. So this is Elena. So I just to follow up with with what was said earlier. What do you do with the procrastination? So you notice your team or even yourself. How do you approach it, and what was the most effective in your journey? Thank you.
So I feel like, thank you for that question. I think that we all experience some form of procrastination. I coined, or I often use this term, and I'm sure anyone that's like close to therapy or close to spaces understand productive procrastination, where you're getting a lot of things done, but none of them help you move the needle forward for the one thing that you needed to get done. So, you're sitting there and you need to write an email, and suddenly you've decided that you're going to clean all the drapes in your house. The drapes have been dirty that's been on your to-do list for a while, but why suddenly is that a goal? My strategy is first becoming aware of it and asking, what is it about this task that I'm afraid of or that's holding me back? What is it? Is it that I'm afraid that someone's going to answer the phone if I make this cold call? Am I afraid of rejection? Am I afraid they're going to say yes and I have to deliver? What is the true obstacle of why I'm not doing this task, and looking closer at it? Because if you look at something that you put on your to-do list and you've not checked it off, but you've gone around it, the question is, what do I feel most uncomfortable? Is the task too big? Maybe I'm looking at it like it's one thing and it's really like 10 different steps, so it feels overwhelming. Can I break this down into smaller, manageable steps? Is something that I ask myself. So for example, I have a follow-up to email everyone that I connected with and that I saved in my phone book. That's too large. Maybe the question is, email the people that I've connected with in the past month, or call the people that I've connected with in the past month. That's more manageable versus sending a blanket email to everyone. Maybe that's too large. So the question that you ask is, how do you start to address procrastination? Step one, becoming aware of it and understanding, like, why am I not doing this thing? And what is the easiest next step I can take to move forward? Because one step forward is better than no steps.
Excellent. Robin, you want to share anything? Also, everybody else, answer maybe your answer to LJ's question, what type of leader you want to be, or what type of leader you are.
Well, Yang, let me put the question back to you. You are leading multiple initiatives with multiple people. What type of leader do you want to be, and what type of leader do you feel you are?
So that's easy because I just pick one word from what you said earlier. I would like to be a kind leader, and that's what I wanted to be. That's it. I'm totally not a structured person like you are. And yeah, I give a lot of flexibility to whoever I work with. And actually, I don't even, in a way, I don't even like to be a leader.
And you know what? Most leaders do not. Most leaders do
Yeah.
not actually see themselves as leader. They're just performing their action and
Yeah.
they're doing it and other people follow. So I'd say inspirational is one of the words I would say you are as a leader. You are an inspirational leader because and you're an encouraging leader and you're
Mhm.
resourceful. So those are the things that
Thank
you
you.
provide as a leader. And I
Mhm.
know to look to you for this information. And I think for anyone listening, think about what are the things that people look to you for? Some of those things may be part of your brand and part of your leadership style as well.
Mm. Now, I will take the word resourceful. I think I am resourceful. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, but for the most part, I want people to lead by themselves, pretty much. I think everybody take ownership of their own destiny, their own life, just decide what type of person you want to be and work towards that. That's what I wish for everybody. Yeah. Maybe we've asked Manly.
Oh, Manly.
She's definitely in a much higher leadership position.
No, thank you, Ying. Okay. I've been teaching for almost 40 years, more than 40 years, from kids from 3 years old. When I was the principal of, Chinese school for those American parents adopt children from China. And I learned a lot from the parents because they're all American parents, but they want to learn and protect and want to see what they can do for their kids. And then I also taught maybe 10 years for teenagers. And then I teach adults about business and Tai Chi, Kung Fu. So I don't know, the same as Ying. I don't want to be a leader, but I have that position. I have to show them. I have to give them instruction. So I think I have one principle, like all the people I meet, I just want them to feel they don't waste time when they're with me. They always learn something. So I don't speak too much. I use my action to influence them. And I believe because our position, actually a lot of people, I realized when I look back, those kids that I taught before, they really remember what they got from me and from the peers that they work together. So I think for me as a leader, we have to learn from with the people that you serve or you lead. Like water, I always feel, the best leader is like water. You can go through all the rocks, okay? You still have your own essence, but you can just change to the format that actually they need. So I'm very proud I can work with Ying, and especially for the group in the morning. That is, these groups actually inspire me a lot. I told Ying, I said, these groups really changed my mind, my conceptions about the groups can work. I think everybody attend Ying's event, you feel you have learned a lot. You don't waste your time, just get up 7 o'clock, go to the meeting. So I will continue to learn more from Ying and all the members here. And thank you for sharing your thoughts here.
And I'm grateful for each of you. Thank you for sharing your, your own individual story, but thank you for also allowing me this opportunity to share mine and allowing me to plant the seed in each of your minds to think about how you want to show up as a leader, how you want to inspire the people around you, just as Manli and Ying do each time that they show up for us in a way that we don't expect. But I think that that's a good demonstration of just being able to showcase what leadership is. And we don't do it on purpose. You just do the thing and people watch and they learn. So thank you for everyone joining and listening in and participating as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Jay,
very much.
I have a question for you. Actually, last time I asked everyone, if someone wants to write a book about you, so what would be the title for that book?
Oh, that's a good question.
I
Oh,
think
my.
Charles was there, that day. I said, "There's the homework for you." Okay.
You know what? It's a great question. I think it has to have something around golf in the title. So I have to think of like what golf word makes sense, because that's like integral in my business and my career and who I am and even where I'm at as people are just kind of here. I'd say she believed and then she did. I think that's how the story would start. And then maybe there'd be some little, like a small amount of language below saying from hole 1 to 18, the story of her journey.
Excellent. We have somebody just join us now.
Yeah, Jyoti.
Jody.
You there,
Hi.
Jyoti? Yeah. So since you joined late, so here's a question for you. What type of leader do you think you are, and what type of leader would you like to be?
What type of leader I am? I can make things happen,
Okay.
and I can motivate my team
Yeah.
to try work hard and like fulfill the mission of the team, whatever we have.
Okay.
And what kind of leader?
You want to be
Fierce.
fierce. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
And
that is how I want to be, but
all
I'm
right.
not. But I would like to, and
Okay.
I'm trying, and I'm trying to work in that route actually.
Yeah. How do you define that? How do you define fearless?
Actually, like for me, like taking risk is something a part of me. I like to take risk, and
Okay.
I like to try new things.
Mm,
Something not that everybody is following, something that is different and unique, and to try and be like and try to be successful in that route. So that is something I like to do.
That's awesome. Thank you. And to answer Manli's question, someone's going to write a book for you. What title would that book be?
Risk taker.
Risk taker. Okay, gotcha. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Alina,
And
Helen.
like another I would like to is silence.
Silence. Okay.
Yeah. Because sometimes silence says so many words. Like if you go in the darkness, there's a silence, but there is so many words you can find there. So
there is a book by that name already.
Oh, I was not aware of it, but
Oh,
yeah,
no. It's about
that is the name.
introverts. It's a very well-known book, actually.
Oh, okay.
About
I will try to look.
introverts. All right. So about the book, anybody else wanted to share your
Thank
thoughts?
you.
Yeah.
It was like I like this questions. Something like out of ordinary. Yeah. Interesting.
Out of ordinary. Yeah. Just give you a little joy in the day. This is what this is supposed to be. Yeah.
Sorry, a couple of students that just walked into my office. What is it about a book?
If someone's going to write a book about you, what title would you like the book to be?
Okay.
I bet you thought about it already many times.
They probably call it Party Hard. Yeah,
Party hard.
Party Hard.
Interesting. Okay.
Because you should have fun in life, right? We spend so much time
Yes.
giving to others, doing other things. So in your moment, you should create some joy. Party hard.
Totally agree. Yes. Mhm. What about Hannelon?
Is this for the type of leader?
But no, this is for the book. If someone's going to write a book about you,
Oh,
what title would you like that book to be? This is Manly's question.
I've thought about this. Mine would be called It's Kind of Funny When You Put It That Way.
Oh, that's the title of the book?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because to me, there were a lot of things that happened that were intense, but if you put, like, you could make it kind of funny.
Ah,
Mhm.
very interesting. Okay, Charles, do you have a title or did you share it last time?
Yeah, I'm still actually thinking about it.
Okay, all
That's
right.
probably one of the greatest questions. I would probably would be on a quest, right? Because I've
All
always been
right.
on a quest since I was little. A quest to succeed, a quest to be the best. You know, the quest. Now I'm on a quest now to give back, you know, to my community. I have some community events that I'm proud to say our company is a sponsor of giving back. So I say my book will be on a quest.
On a quest, yes. Very good. Awesome. Maxwell, any thoughts on that?
There are so many words that come in my mind right now. I just
just share one.
I'm caught between like 10 words right now. I'll just pick one. I would say the journey.
Journey, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
You're
You're allowed to change your mind, okay? Next time you can share a different word. Elena?
Yes. So to me, I started to look at it. And then I absolutely don't care what the title of the book would be, whatever it is. And then I'll be not present on this planet. However, like the whole purpose is to bring up everything that's whatever you have, really giving, and at the same time also feeling happiness, joy. So you can't give everything, and just you can't, because if there's you have a purpose here too, but then it has to be like balanced, and it has to be like truly a growth of who you are, and through that you'll give more to others. And again, that's that I don't know yet what the title would be, and it will be created in the process. So and I just keep reminding myself and others, like we have to have like really great time here. Don't forget about that. Very important.
Well, having a great time could be a good title.
Yes, and some kind of yes, like that's very important. The essence of happiness, like it's not just happiness, it's everything, like fun, humor, good, bad. So that's the essence of it.
Gotcha. And Christine has a plan B called walk with others. Okay. Good to have a plan B. Okay, so Manly, I'm going to turn back to you to close it out, and maybe you'll give a new homework for people for the next meeting. They can come back and think about it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you, everyone. So the next time when we meet, I hope you prepare that. What's the best advice that you ever received?
All right.
Okay. So I think, if we think more, that actually we can have better life, or at least this program. Okay, so see you everyone, and thank you, LJ, for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you. LJ,
Yes,
last
thank
word?
you.
Thank you all.
Yeah, my last word is choose to lead with your heart.
Mm. Awesome. With that,
Nice.
everybody have a wonderful evening, and yeah, thanks for coming.
Bye,
Thank you,
guys.
LJ. Yeah.